What's up? What's up? What is up? You know what it is. It's the Ball Hawk Sports Talk with your boy, B. Brown, ESQ, a.k.a. Ball Hawk, a.k.a. the Mouth of the South, a.k.a. Mr. Excessive Celebration, a.k.a. Breezy. I am coming to you from the Super Bowl, Pop Warner Super Bowl. So disregard the background because this is an exciting day. While, yes, we are changing the time. It's not a morning slot. It's an afternoon slot. It's still an exciting day. The morning slot to me needed to be protected and reserved. The morning was all about Marcus Freeman and all about the news, the announcement of the day that Notre Dame has found its next head coach. The 30th head coach has been announced. His name is Marcus Freeman. He is a black man, 35 years old, and the defensive coordinator, and we're going to get into that. So that was the morning. But this afternoon is about the Ball Hawk Sports Talk. This week in the coaching carousel that has become college football has us in the Ball Hawk Sports Talk world discussing and describing to our listeners, our audience, what this whole college landscape is about. Today's episode is entitled A Coach, a Roach, and a Brand New Approach. And I promise you we're not going to agree. I promise you we're going to disagree a lot. I promise you it's going to be some provocative comments made by maybe yours truly, maybe somebody else. This week, we're not going to have ETP. Ellis, the producer, is out making a whole bunch of big moves, and he wanted us to have space to really discuss this Notre Dame saga and really discuss this college football landscape with the college football playoffs and the impact of what's going to happen this week. You think that would be the focus, but all of the coaching moves this week has our focus squarely on a coach, a Roach, and a brand new approach. So with no further ado, let's go ahead and get started. It's the Ball Hawk Sports Talk. Fasten your seatbelt. It's going to be a good one. Let's go. Wake up, wake up, wake up, and stay woke. Because this is the Ball Hawk Sports Talk with your boy, B. Brown, ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hog, a.k.a. the Mouth of the South. This is the place where sports, business, and entertainment collide. And we're going to give it to you rough, rugged, and raw. So come get you a spoonful, like some grits with butter and salt. You know how we do it in the South, y'all. Make sure you do not get caught in your feelings. Strap on your seatbelt and enjoy the ride. Come on, let's go. What's up? My man.
What's good, America? What's good, America?
Show.
Let's go,
it's just
man.
The two of us this week, man. ETP moved aside and gave us space to have what is going to be. We've been arguing all
that
week.
Means I can talk more without you cutting me off all the time.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. There's no producer between us. We're going to take off the gloves. We about to go in. We've been arguing all week, so now we're going to bring it to the show. I have my hat on because I felt like it was just right to put on my hat, to wear my tie, because today is all about the 30th head coach of the University of Notre Dame, where we had the pleasure of playing long time ago when we had leather helmets and all that good stuff. There is a young 35-year-old black man who will be leading the Irish through the tunnel for both the, hopefully, I don't know what the bowl will be, but then into next season. We started a new era. It's the Marcus Freeman era. So I wore the hat, I wore the tie, but now I got to take the hat off. It's time to go in.
I put my green on. I put my green. That's all I can
put the green on. It represents
green,
you know, y'all got to excuse
it's green mixed with brown because we got a black head coach.
You got a black head coach, baby. Notre Dame. Shout out to Notre Dame. Shout out to Marcus Freeman and his young family. 35 years old with 6 kids, man. He was busy in 35 years. But
comment for the green room. All right.
35 though, man. What were you doing at 35? You was not coaching a program like Notre Dame, right? At 35, we were still figuring it out.
Hold on. I was coaching the Naperville Patriots, baby. We was doing championships. It wasn't quite a little different stage, but you know what I'm saying? It was real to me.
Coaching.
I probably wasn't even coaching yet, quietly though. I probably didn't start that till I was 37. That's when I started my youth football coaching career at 37. So 37. Freeman, you got it. I'll give it to you. Okay.
Look, man, the fans were behind him. The former players behind him. Other coaches around the country behind him. But most importantly, his players. The players were, I think, the most vocal in wanting Marcus Freeman as their coach. And so I ask you, because I saw the thing that was tweeted out today, and this is how you know it. This has been a real interesting week, man, because Jack Swarbrick never even had a Twitter account. I didn't realize that. He started Twitter basically this morning just to announce that they had their coach. And so today's episode, a coach, a Roach, and a brand new approach. Jack Swarbrick wanted everybody, we found our coach. The player celebration was tweeted this morning. The players were made known, were made aware that they were coached by the strength coach, that their new coach is going to be Marcus Freeman by the strength coach. To see their reaction, real-time jubilation gave me goosebumps.
It lets you know that it's the right coach, the right choice.
That was going to be my next question. Was it the right coach? And this is where we ask you every week, humbly, please like, please comment, please share, tag a friend, tag anybody that you know. Make sure that they understand that the Ball Hawk Sports Talk, where sports, business, and entertainment collide. We do it rough, rugged, and raw. So let's hop in. We're going to ask everybody that is in the live audience, please comment. Let's go in, man. Did they hire the right coach? Now that we know that Marcus Freeman, it's official as of today. Today is a palindrome. 12/3/21, a palindrome. Yeah, you like that, huh? On this day, 12/3/21, Marcus Freeman became the second black head coach of the University of Notre Dame football program. Did they hire the right person? Let's go.
Yes. And so here's why I say yes. He's been there for a while, for a year. He's got an opportunity for a season. The kids have been playing there, and every kid, just about except the freshmen, have seen multiple coaches, seen them come and go. They all had his back, right? I haven't heard anybody who's come in contact with Marcus Freeman that does not speak very highly of him. And I think if it's kind of if you don't think he's the right coach, but you thought he was the right defensive coordinator, you got to think of the alternative when you say yes. So I say yes because if we don't hire Marcus Freeman, he's gone, right? So now we're trying to rebuild. Is
that why you hire somebody? Because that's like saying if you don't marry this young lady, then she's gonna leave you. That ain't a reason to give the rest of your life and devote.
It is if she got that
through thickness and health, through better or worse, sickness and whatever, poor and rich.
I'm not gonna say that it's the reason I hire him, but when you start thinking about the totality of the situation, is we have offense. We've had a great season, 11-1. Some people
y'all got to disregard the kids in the background. I'm down.
You out here doing things. That's okay. As long as they don't put you in a headlock, that's unacceptable. If they put you in a headlock, I gotta call timeout. But we have a defensive coordinator that we're happy with. Would you agree with that?
Yes. Hear me?
Yep. We have an offensive coordinator that we were happy with. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that.
So you hire Marcus Freeman. Nothing changes from what it did last week. We're the same team. We just missed the head coach that arguably people wish that he gave up more control and was just a general manager.
Right.
So if we're happy with this 11-1 season that we had, we're happy with everything but one game that we had last year where we didn't have Freeman as D coordinator.
Right.
And you don't want that to change, as opposed to getting a brand new offensive coordinator, brand new defensive coordinator. I'm not going to say it's a lesser two evils because that would be a complete disservice to him.
Right.
But I'm going along the lines of there's a lot less risk in making Freeman the head coach than there is trying to see if I think everyone, the consensus is that Fickle was going to be the big target, right? So if we could get Fickle, if we could get Campbell, potentially, because that's the other group, I'm glad they ain't going to go after Fitzgerald because we got things to do, right? So he's going to stay with us over here. But if we were to get those two, you don't really know what comes with it. We beat Iowa State last time we played them, right? We didn't beat Cincinnati, but I don't know if he hasn't proven to be able to recruit people to a Notre Dame. He recruited to a Cincinnati. Some will say harder, some say easier. I'm going to say I don't know those kids, so I'm not going to try to say that they're not academically as talented, but I'm just going to say that maybe they're not, but maybe they are. Who knows? We don't soon. It has to be said. So we got to test drive this coach before we hired him as a coach, and he's been getting better and better. In the beginning of the season, the jury was still kind of out, but as these people understand, we're holding people to very few points. So I think we
over
had
the last several weeks, he's been lights out. The defense has been second to none. They had 3 weeks of scoreless performances to shutouts. And then, up until about the third quarter, Stanford, they were shut out. So we've had defensive performances that have been off the charts. But at the end of the day, right, Notre Dame, and I agree that they hired the right coach. I think they hired the right coach. I think you had to do it. I thought that they were going to hire somebody a little bit more off the beaten path. I thought they were going to hold on and for a little while. But the landscape of college football has changed such that you couldn't do it, right? And so Jack Swarbrick and his press conference, we're going to get to other press conferences here very soon because there's a Brian Kelly press conference that I got to talk
Kelly
about.
from the South. Brian Kelly from the South.
Brian Kelly
from Louisiana. His kinfolk is from Louisiana by way of Boston, Massachusetts.
From the Boo. But in that press conference, when Jack Swarbrick basically said that each coaching search is different. You have to evaluate the circumstances at that moment. And the search has to be gauged on what's going on at the moment. And then you look at where we've been over the last several years, give credit to Brian Kelly and staff, but most importantly to the kids, the young men that played, that strapped up and went out there and risked life and limb in order to get the record that they had. Public shameless plug for the young men, because all week I've heard people describe the success as Brian Kelly's success. So I give a shameless plug for the young men. But when I heard him say that, I started to think maybe Marcus Freeman has a shot. I'm happy to see that he got the opportunity. I do think that they hired the right person. So Notre Dame, Fighting Irish, we got ourselves a coach. I'll be remiss if I didn't at least bring this up because I see a lot of people in the chat. Some of our live audience, people that I have gone back and forth with over the years, people in my neighborhood, people, family members, folks that look like me. Black folk have held Notre Dame under fire for a long time based on what they did or did not do for Tyrone Willingham. Does this absolve Notre Dame from that? And will people let it go? Because I look, Notre Dame, while I was proud that they hired Tyrone Willingham, during a time when black coaches weren't getting an opportunity, they hired Tyrone Willingham. Tyrone Willingham got fired abruptly, cut his contract short. First coach ever at Notre Dame for that to happen. The black community, rightly so, myself included, black community, when I say black community, that does not mean exclusively non-Notre Dame folk. There were a bunch of Notre Dame folk, black folk, that were upset, up in arms. I happened to be in law school at the time. And I remember that the black community on campus was very vocal. I was very proud of those young people saying that, look, we're going to wear a black eye for this because we should. Does this hire sort of wipe that away? Before we get into, because we're talking about a coach. We about to get into a Roach soon. Does this absolve Notre Dame from the guilty sin of doing what they had never done before, prematurely firing a coach mid-contract, and that coach happens to have been the first black coach they ever hired?
I'm going to say this. And I do not pull any punches. I don't sugarcoat anything for Notre Dame. I hold them to the fire. I criticize them anytime they need criticism. I think that the Willingham situation, they got it wrong. But they had the intentions that they had was a temptation that was very difficult to pass up. They didn't fire Tyrone Willingham because of firing Willingham. They fired him because they thought they could get Urban Meyer when he was the hottest coach out. And they couldn't hire Urban Meyer without firing Willingham. Now, the arrogance of Notre Dame came through because they thought, I'm going to get rid of him. I'm going to bring in Urban Meyer because Urban Meyer had the Lou Holtz clause in his contract that said, I can leave here without any payment for Notre Dame. And we went in there arrogantly and tried to offer him a book of coops and a 6-pack of beer, and he went to Florida.
2 packs of sugar gum. And a pack of Twizzlers.
You know, a fun dip. Year supply of fun dip. And Bob Davie came in and hated and said, don't go here. Go to Florida. You can win there quicker. And he left. So we had egg on our face. But I don't think it had anything to do with Willingham. I think it had everything to do with the fact that we had the hottest coach, which, let's be honest, Meyer is one of the best college coaches that we've ever seen. If you think about it, he's had success everywhere he's gone. He's been undefeated everywhere he's gone in at least a season. He's won multiple national championships. So you have to give him credit to being something. Now, he liked to tickle them little girls in the booty A little too much. He needed to relax with that type of stuff.
That's my coach. Don't talk about my coach, man.
It's my quarterback. So they had to disqualify him from trying to get him from Jacksonville. But I think that was the situation. So I think Notre Dame took a little too much heat for that Tyrone Willingham thing. He just happened to be that coach. I think they would have fired Charlie Weiss the same way. But I'm gonna say that it does absolve them from their. I mean, you got to move forward, right? It's been a very, very long time since Willingham was the coach. At least two ADs later, right? At least two ADs later.
Two ADs later from Tyrone?
Yeah.
No.
Schwarbuck been there all the time? Wasn't that the other dude that got
there when that happened? Yeah. No. I don't remember. That's a great question. Schwarbuck was there. I was a part of a transition. Kevin White was there when I was in law school. So
I think Kevin White was the one who had him. And
it might have been under Kevin White's tenure. That's a great question. I
digress. Google it, Parnell. But anyway, so at the end of the day, we got to move forward because the move that Notre Dame did to get to hire Freeman is very unprecedented at a major college like that it is. I can't think of another school, and you can't either, where a black assistant coach. And we're on the what do you call the Mount Rushmore of college football programs. We're in the top.
We're gonna get into that. I don't know. I don't know because look, my man Dan Orlowski, who that was a name drop. I happen to know, but he does a good job on ESPN. I sent him a text when he and Marcus Spears got into this argument about Notre Dame versus LSU as a job. So we're gonna talk about that. I think it's a Mount Rushmore, but we got to ask the audience. We got to have that analysis. But
if the audience doesn't think that Notre Dame is a Mount Rushmore football program, we probably need to get a better audience because there's no question we are a Mount Rushmore program. Anyone who hates Notre Dame still agrees we are a Mount Rushmore program. So maybe Mount Rushmore is going to be more than the amount of heads that you want to say. You know what I mean? But we are the cream of the crop program name wherever. Name another one that has had an assistant black coach that got promoted. If they would have gave the job to Tommy Rees, the whole country would be screaming what? White privilege, right? Never give a brother a chance like that. Never do something like that. Dude has only been a coordinator for a couple of years at a major. This is his first Power 5 school that he's been a coordinator at, and he got the job after 1 year. Got to give Notre Dame. We got to do that. If we're gonna hate on him for Willingham, show me another school.
I agree with you. We have now agreed twice, so we got to get into something that we don't agree about. Because I did see a lot of my friends who are, and I'm eventually going to have to go tell these kids to stop running up this.
We can't hear it. We can't hear it.
You cannot hear them.
No.
All right, great. But I saw some of my friends, man, people who I think are near and dear to my heart. People from family, friends, a lot from Fort Lauderdale, but not really want to give Notre Dame credit. The same people that gave Notre Dame heat, rightfully so, for firing Tyrone Willingham. It's like, not a big deal. They hire Marcus Freeman at 35 years old.
With no head coach experience.
And he has a program that potentially could be in the college football playoffs, not next year, but this season. He's handed the keys
next week
to the kingdom.
2 days on Sunday.
2 days. He could be coaching a college. He could have a national championship within, arguably if he makes it to the playoffs, we could debate that way. You got to be in it to win it. Could have a national championship within the first 2 months of becoming a head coach. Now, I'm all for holding Notre Dame accountable for the Tyrone Willingham saga. The truth of the matter is people with deep pockets, very few people that are in very powerful positions, I think, made that decision. And the influence in which they had, I think, was unfortunately, it revealed itself in an ugly way. So, but I think they should get credit. So that's a coach. Marcus Freeman, shout out to you, man. I think he's a good brother. I can't wait to see what he's able to do, not only with the bowl game. Hopefully it is a playoff game, but going there for it. Now we got to get into this debate of a Roach, because there are some that argue that Brian Kelly's exit, the fact that it happened prior to, not only prior to the selection Sunday, but prior to the Tuesday of the penultimate. Yes, it.
I only graduated Notre Dame. I never went to graduate school.
But He could have waited 2 days, and at least in the penultimate selection process.
Use it in a sentence other than what you just did. I need help.
Second to last. How about that?
You couldn't
just add a few more words.
You really feel I'll unfriend you on Facebook for doing stuff like that.
Right?
Using a word like that was second to last was
second to last works just as bad.
Ah, way better.
Second to last. So in the second to last, he could have waited 2 days and it would have not had any impact on the second to last college football playoff ranking. But yet he did it when he did it. There are people that have called that move. Not only that move, but Lincoln Riley, when he decided to leave, when you got an OU program that prior to the Oklahoma State loss was also in the running for a college football playoff seat. You got, and now they're moving to the SEC. You got people saying that Brian Kelly's exit, the way he did it, makes him a roach. Lincoln Riley's, people don't question as much the way he did it, but the decision itself makes him a roach. They're running from, in Lincoln Riley's case, they say he's running from the SEC. In Brian Kelly's case, they said that he ran away from his own players. He ran away from the responsibility and the obligation to win at a big program like Notre Dame. And now people have sort of turned a blind eye to his lack of competitiveness. The last 3 coaches that have coached at LSU have won a national championship, so I understand why it's a position that he would want to go and take. But to be in the running the last several years, it seems interesting that he would then, in his first press conference, say he wanted to coach the best talent. He wanted to have the best resources.
He has to say that. We can't get over that.
Let's get over it, but let's talk about it. I can't say let's just not talk about it.
I'm glad you brought up the comparison between Lincoln Riley and between Brian Kelly.
Well, let's go one at a time. Let's go Brian Kelly then.
I want to do it as a comparison. If you'll bear with me, I want to do it as a comparison.
Oh, got it.
Lincoln Riley left after a loss, right? After he ain't make it, I'm about. Start to wonder, were you distracted? Obviously, they didn't offer him the contract on Saturday night. So were you distracted? Were you thinking about other things, doing whatever? He left. Now it seems like the program is in shambles, right? They've had decommitments. They've had a bunch of people now that are going. The number 5-star running back this morning switched from USC or from OU to USC. There's a quarterback, a 23 quarterback that's the number 1 quarterback in the nation. He decommitted already. So they've already had 5 decommitments since I've been paying attention. So right. 6 now with this running back. I don't know how many went to USC. I feel like he strangled them and he left them high and dry, scrambling, and OU doesn't know what to do. I think people say Brian Kelly left the wrong way. I argue that he could not have left a better way than he did. And here's my argument.
Why is that?
He gave us 5 10-win seasons in a row.
That's ain't got nothing to do with how he left. Oh, you're conflating two things.
So we're not letting people finish. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. So when we start off, so I should judge your show by your opening remarks. That's what we do. Or do I let you finish?
I'll let you finish.
But so we have 5 10-win seasons in a row, right?
Yep.
2 of the last 3 years we've gone to the playoffs.
Right. Yep.
This year we're 11-1.
Right.
Number 3 recruiting class in the nation coming in.
Right.
Brings in his replacement the year before.
He doesn't know that's his replacement, but yeah.
He actually introduced him as the next head coach of Notre Dame a couple months ago. But anyway.
But he doesn't hire the coaches.
Okay. I'm gonna give you something else that he did I think was even sweeter. So he leaves. We don't have a game going. We don't have nothing going on right now. The game is over. We win the game. He leaves us prime 11-1. We need the same help now that we needed before he quit to get into the playoff situation or to get into a New Year's 6 game, right?
Yeah.
So great situation. Boom, he leaves. When he leaves, and I'm going to argue this, you might not give him the credit. I don't believe he really tried. He goes to the media and says, I'm going to make him the highest paid defensive coordinator in the nation.
Yep.
I'm going to give Tommy Rees $400,000 more than he makes now to come over to LSU. I think that was all bullshit. I believe he was trying to take care of them because now we had to say, I'm going to say where my brain was at. When I first heard of this leaving and I thought about Marcus Freeman, my first thoughts were, I don't know if he's ready to be a head coach just yet. First job, Notre Dame. I don't know. Maybe we need to get Fickle, maybe whatever.
Yeah.
As soon as I heard in the paper that they're going to make him the highest paid D coordinator ever to leave, I said, damn, this dude is going to be out of here if we don't make him the head coach.
Right.
And now we butt naked. Now we lost this whole number 3 recruiting class, which we know one class can change the projection of a program forever.
Mm-hmm.
We lose at least 7, 8 of them, 9 of them if we're in a flux, right?
Right.
We got to wait until a bowl game that we get embarrassed in or make the playoffs, God forbid, and get embarrassed in because coach is going to be gone. Reese going to leave. Everybody's going to go leave. He put an anxiety in me as a guy who's just, I don't have nothing to lose other than being a fan. And that anxiety, if you listen to Schwarbuck's interview, there's nothing about that made you think he was going to hire Marcus Freeman. When he did that interview, that press conference the other day, he was talking about it. He didn't want to do no interim coach. He said if he did have to do an interim coach, that person wouldn't be considered for the head coach job. They're going to take their time. They're going to do this. Nothing about that made you think he was going to do Marcus Freeman. That same day, correct me if I'm wrong, that same day we heard the report that Marcus Freeman is going to be the head coach or he's going to be the highest paid D coordinator at LSU. He's trying to get him. Boom. We turned around and we got him. So I argue that the way that he left saved Notre Dame from itself because I personally believe that if we had time, we would have tried to go after Fickle. We would have tried to go after Campbell. We wouldn't have wanted to pay them. I know they didn't pay Marcus Freeman $9 million a year, and that's what Fickle and Campbell are going to want when they go to their next big job. If one of them gets this Oklahoma job, whatever, they're going to want that big dollar amount that's coming out. Everybody else getting it. My man in Michigan State won 7-8 games, and he got $9.5 million a year on his first 10-win season ever before he even got his 10th win. This cat got his money. So that's what these dudes are going to want, their money. So Notre Dame would have messed it up, and we would have ended up with some goofy-ass coach that nobody wanted, and everybody would be gone, and we'd be sitting there butt naked without the recruits, without doing whatever. So I will argue, you heard it here first, the way that he left. Hey, when you leave comments, you can't leave like 17 sentences. I can't read the whole thing.
Go ahead. You good.
Okay. I believe he deserves a statue for how he left. I believe he hooked us up that much. And it's such a great set. And if we mess around and win a chip or a major bowl game after he left with all his pieces that he put together and set us up in the future, how many coaches leave a program in great shape when they leave? Usually you get fired or you leave them high and dry. He left us in great shape. We couldn't be in better shape than when we're in right now. Everybody who made a decision last game is still here.
I
give him a trophy.
So are you done?
I'm done.
I waited
for now.
You're giving a coach a lot of credit.
I am.
A lot. So in BK we trust. Here's my issue with it. Maybe those coaches didn't leave because they didn't want to be with him. Because not only was the two coordinators, but Mike Elston also decided to he was with him for 12 years. Maybe we didn't have any decommits because people choose Notre Dame for reasons different and beyond just football. Maybe he did it just as it looked, like a slimy roach in the night. The fact that that man was there for all of 7 minutes speaking to his kids, speaking to the young men that
8 minutes.
8 minutes? All right, cool. 8 minutes and never made eye contact with them before he walked out of that building tells me that maybe he's not a roach, but he got some roach tendencies.
He got more than 2 feet. He walk on his belly at night. Okay.
And you've heard the rumors of him being less than genuine, him being a politician, and him willing to sell his soul for anything and everything that is going to benefit Brian Kelly. I wasn't going to say one way or another. I know a lot of players. I've spoken to a lot of players because we all have our opinions about coaches. And when it comes to the subjective feelings that a player has, if you're not there every day, you don't know the real story. There's his side, her side, and the truth, or whatever it is. The truth is somewhere in between. So I don't evaluate it based on those comments. But when you see that none of those coaches decide to go with him, it might have just been because, we're not rocking with you, BK. There's some real roach tendencies to how he did, because he could have made that announcement 48 hours later. And it would have benefited the kids that he brought in, recruited. He went into their living room and told their parents that he was going to be a father figure to them. It could have benefited them to wait 48 hours. The only person that it benefited to take that check right then and there was Brian Kelly, his family. It didn't benefit Notre Dame. It did not benefit the kids that he recruited. And I would argue that him making that statement, that was the most obvious statement imaginable, because both of those coordinators have gotten a lot of credit for being not only great coordinators, but great recruiters. I would argue that that was as obvious as it could be in terms of he was going to go after those coordinators. You're saying that he played chess in this move. I don't think that he's played chess. And if he played chess that well, then one of the appearances that we had that could have led to a national championship would have ended in a national championship.
He's not that good of a coach. He's not good enough for that. He's good enough to get us to the playoffs.
You describe a chess player as though he is, though. Chess players win those games. He didn't win them. He didn't win the big games. Let's just be honest.
I don't believe you have to be. You don't have to win at everything to win at some things. I do believe this. I think if you got to judge the situation that we're in a mere 5 days after he departed. After he departed, and people were like, no. First of all, I don't think people gave him the credit he deserved.
Fair.
You know, our Notre Dame alumni, I love you guys for listening to whatever, but you are some ungrateful sons of guns, and I laugh at you, and I love to see how you get scrutinized at your jobs and what you do, because at the end of the day, this man is going to the playoffs 2 of the last 3 years, and this year he needs some help, but he could be 3 of the last 4 years in a 4-team playoff. And damn it, people they wanted him fired. So now you got what you wanted, right? Now he got up out of there. He left. But there's a defensive coordinator that just took over that everyone loves. We got super energy in the program. Yes, I would say this. Most people choose a school because of the school and not the coach. However, had he left and take Freeman and took Reese and took everybody with them and everybody's butt naked, you're trying to tell me that the number 3 class in the nation, none of those people are going to switch? Everybody just loves the Dome like that? I don't believe. I call bullshit on that. I think they gave it some time. So Schwarbuck did one thing right. He kept everybody on the road recruiting.
Schwarbrick, man. You call him Schwarbuck?
Schwarbuck. I think there's a baseball player in Chicago, Schwarbuck. But Schwarber, yeah, Schwarbuck, something like that. I don't know. You know who the hell I'm talking about. So anyway,
the athletic director, him.
The AD, the dude with the new Twitter handle. The dude with the new Twitter handle. So he was like, "Is ND taken? Can I get the Twitter? Can I have it at ND?" Nah, man, that's gone, dude. You know, but
right.
Yeah, I digress. So anyway, Schwarbrick. I think he kept the guys on the road. One of my friends said his son spent an hour with Dale Alexander the other day. You know, getting recruited and different things there. They stayed on the road, which was smart. Get in front of these people and keep them going. So maybe that does speak against. They thought they were going to get Freeman, and they knew they wanted to keep these assistants. But again, let me ask you this question: do you think anybody would try to make Freeman the highest paid defensive coordinator in the country prior to him saying that? So let's say Brian Kelly doesn't leave.
Yes.
You think his resume said he should be the highest paid D coordinator in the country right now?
Yes, because the new landscape of college football is you bring in a young coach, whether it be black, white, or whatever, that is the hot topic of all college football, and you pay them handsomely, and that person, if they add to their qualities, ability to go into a living room and recruit, they are like gold. Marcus Freeman's ability to recruit is led to the recruiting class that you're describing. He was the quarterback of that recruiting class. And so, yeah, I think he would have got paid, whether it be LSU or anybody else, had they brought in somebody else. So other than Marcus Freeman, they being Notre Dame. Notre Dame goes out and hires someone other than Marcus Freeman. Marcus Freeman could have gone with Brian Kelly at LSU, but could have gone a lot of other places as a D coordinator and as a head coach, because when you're in that seat and you are, fresh off of 3 out of 4 weeks of pitching a shutout, when you are making a run to try to get into the college football playoffs at a place like Notre Dame, despite the pressure, despite all of the eyes being on you and the criticism that you always get, yeah, that's gold. So I think Marcus Freeman had established his value before Brian Kelly made that statement or that he showed his hand and said that he wanted to go after Marcus Freeman. Brian Kelly can't go, and we saw it. And the other thing that's sort of concept of a Roach, right? We saw it. Marcus Freeman seems as authentic and genuine as you're going to get. Brian Kelly, pre-saga, I'm going to call this a saga. I'm not going, because if somebody offered me $95 million for 10 years, I'm going to think about it too. So I'm not going to judge him and say he's a bad person for making his life and his family's life better. His kids might never have to work based on the decision that he made, but there's a way that you do it, right? So I'm not gonna judge him for making that decision. But the truth of the matter is that now we look at it and we see he's all of a sudden just come up with some Southern drawl. Now he's from the Bayou, right? All of a sudden, he goes in and tells people that I wanted to coach the best talent in the country. And what's the guy's name? That's bad. From ESPN, went to Texas. Sam, the linebacker, played in the NFL. Anyway, I loved his analysis saying, Coach, you can't go and say you wanted to coach the best when you had X, Y, Z. He kind of called him out on it. Acho, Sam Acho. So I love that he called him out on it. But Brian Kelly, now creating and mastering a Southern Louisiana drawl. Brian Kelly telling these people that I want to coach the best and I needed a new challenge. What other challenge do you need other than Notre Dame?
He gotta say that.
And Brian Kelly,
you know what I'm saying? You walk into my house, you gotta tell me my ribs was dry. I made ribs last night. They was kind of dry, but I know every time they bit this, man, these some good ribs. You're in my house. You have to say that. You have to go there. What else is he gonna say? I came here for 9.5 meals. You can't say that. No one wants to hear that. But that's a perfectly good reason to take the job.
It is a perfectly good reason to take the job, a perfectly good reason to say that you took the job. But what you say, words matter.
You can't say that at the press conference. Hey, it was too many M's. I was loving Notre Dame, and it was better than here, but y'all gave me these M's, so I can't. You can't say that. How was that received by anybody?
If it's genuine, respect it. I say you pay me these M's, now I'm going to go earn these M's. But don't then try to make it about, all right, I'm taking the next chapter. I'm taking the next step, and I want to coach some.
What you point is this. Right now, Mr. Kelly, I want you to speak into the microphone. Why? Why did you take this job at LSU?
They offered me the amount of money that I couldn't turn down. My wife and I decided that this is what we had to do.
They can't offer you that type of stuff.
They offered me the type of money that I couldn't turn down. My wife and I decided.
Say that. You can't say that, man, in an interview.
It's the reason they fire you. If at $95 million he goes in and doesn't do what the other coaches have done before him, which they've all won in about 3 years, Les Miles, Ed Orgeron, Nick Saban, they've all gone in and won. So now they paid you $95 million. So if you go in and you don't win, it's going to be the reason that they fire you. Like, we paid you $95 million.
What is the fan base going to say if you say I took this job for the bread?
Even if you don't make it just about the bread, don't be so specific to make it about, all right, I wanted to coach the best. Because the understood implication is I wasn't coaching the best at Notre Dame.
But that's what the LSU fan base wants to hear. We're the best. I wanted to come coach. This is the best place, the best resources, the best everything. That's what they want to hear.
Meanwhile,
they want to hear the Southern drawl. I'm going to go eat some crawfish etouffee after this interview because I've always been down here for Louis. They might actually turn on him for that fake ass thing, but he's trying to fit in, man. Hey, money will change you, man. You get somebody 9.5 mil with an extra mil of easy incentives plus an extra 750,000 of likely incentive. I'll start doing whatever you want me to do, man. What do you want me to do? But we'll put that to the side.
Fair, man. Fair.
Who cares about him there? I care about the transition, and I just keep saying this: we are in such a good position. Oklahoma's not in the position we're in right now. Would you agree?
No, not. Although I do like the fact that Stoops stepped in and he's going to stabilize. I think Stoops going to stabilize it, and they're going to make a good decision. They've got a little more time.
Stabilize it, but they didn't keep no recruits. No one chose that. No one chose Oklahoma for the school.
I don't think that you judge these decisions based on one recruiting class. So
no,
even
you don't. But the fact of the matter is, so far we have no scar. There's nothing. We are in no worse shape in any aspect of anywhere of anything with our program today than we were on Sunday. Not one prior to them. No L's. We have 0 L's.
But even prior to them announcing that it was going to be Marcus Freeman today, it's official. We got us a coach, y'all. Go ahead, Marcus Freeman. Even prior to that, I made the statement in several group chats that I was in is that I don't think it's going to be a mass exodus of a recruiting class because Notre Dame, while we try to say it hurts us when it comes to competing against the LSUs and the Alabamas of the world, but we do recruit a different type of kid. You're not choosing, and Notre Dame, whether it be Brian Kelly, Marcus Freeman, Lou Holtz, or any other coach, and the administration, the staff, the entire institution in recruiting does sell the idea of it's 40 years, not 4 years. So after you've heard that over and over and over again, then you do, I think you do have a little more commitment to the long-term decision that you've made versus the coach that you decided to make the decision to play for. And that's just, I didn't think it was going to be a mass exodus either way. I think Marcus Freeman seals a deal not only for this year, but you had a pipeline of other guys that I think if there was going to be a mass exodus, it would have been other kids that are going to now be recruited, you know, that year plus 1, year plus 2 recruit that's got to hold off all of the other suitors in order to fulfill their commitment. I think that's where the issues would have come. But it is what it is. So yes or no?
So we did great there. Another thing by hiring this black coach we didn't mention is, we kind of mentioned, but we didn't dig deep enough into it, is, you know, there's a lot of players out there. And again, as you know, my son just went through the recruiting cycle, and you talk to people about different things. And I wear 2 hats. I wear the dad hat, and then I wear the Notre Dame alumni hat. And I speak to it both, and I try to be impartial when it comes to.
You wear the dad hat more nowadays, which I like.
I do, because I mean, he's my son forever.
Yeah.
And Notre Dame charges me for tickets. But at the end of the day,
we're going to change that. We about to get press passes. Y'all get us some press passes. The ball.
Come on, man.
Stop making
us saying. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of people that don't go to Notre Dame because of the racial element. They think this ain't place for a black kid. This is tough. Right. Hiring a young black coach, you know, they didn't go out and hire one of these black coaches that voted for Trump. You know what I mean? They went out a young black coach that played.
I don't know who you voted for.
I'm just saying.
I got you.
Yeah. I digress. But they went out and got a young dude named Marcus. You know what I'm saying? Marcus Garvey type. You know, he was named after Marcus Garvey. You know, at the end of the day, that does so much for relationships to the general perception of Notre Dame and the public. I think this. Now, believe me, we all know there's some Notre Dame alumni right now who are mad as shit.
Oh my God, hot.
And I'm so happy they're upset too. That makes me so happy. Yeah. I love bathing in your tears. But at the same time, there's so many people like, I got a friend. I'm going to give him a shout out. His name is Julian Mitchell. He hates Notre Dame. And every time something bad happens, which I love it because I don't hear from him all year, I ain't heard from him because he can't say nothing bad about the team. Every time something bad happens, he want to come in. Y'all sorry. Right. I texted him immediately, and I said, when Marcus got hired, I said, does this change your opinion? He's like, yep. And I'm saying, like, this is a dude who I know passionately dislikes my alma mater, but this one hire changes his opinion. And that was my litmus test. Now there's other people out there too, but there's a lot of people out there who are going to be like, okay, Notre Dame, you showed me something.
So let's ask a question, man, because we got to move on. Was his not the decision to leave? Because again, at $95 million for 10 years, I'm at least gonna consider it. But was the way he left? Was it a Roach move? Was it a Roach move? You say no. I say yes.
You want him to leave?
Ask the audience. Was the way he left right? And like a thief in the night, he was gone while his assistants were still out on the recruiting path. One assistant found out after he just left a young man's living room, telling him how great the program was and all of that. Was his decision to leave
Notre Dame.
The way
we almost
he left,
as good as LSU, my man. You should come to Notre Dame if LSU never offers you.
I'm asking the audience, and please weigh in. How he left, was it a Roach move?
Let me ask you, how should he have left differently? What would have made you feel better?
I already told you. I think he should have waited at least 2 days. And more importantly for me, because the rumor is
polls that come out.
I would have loved for at least to let the Tuesday night polls come out, right? Because that weighed in, and someone has already said that weighed into their decision of where they put Notre Dame at 6 versus 5. But I'll say this in addition, like I get it. The college landscape has changed, and we're going to get to that because the early signing period means he's got to go out and recruit for his next team. But the way I would have liked him to do it It ain't have to be public. You know, there have been rumors that Lincoln Riley had already gone to his team and let him know that he was seriously considering other opportunities. So the first people that heard that he was seriously considering opportunities are the same young men that he had recruited, the same young men that had committed not only the institution, but the coach had left their homes, wherever they're from, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Chicago, Illinois, and decided to commit to Lincoln Riley. Those are the first people that he let know that he was seriously considering opportunities. I think that both the reputation that precedes Coach Kelly and some of the things that I've heard from players. Now, you got to remember, you know, get your $95 million. And for everybody out there, and this is how we're going to transition, for everybody out there that has a son that plays college football, high school football, that's thinking about college football, you got to understand this is capitalism. Get yours because they're going to get theirs, right? I had a nephew that I helped transition to Notre Dame for a year. Everybody knows about. He was probably the first ever real grad transfer to play at Notre Dame. Real meaning he had offers, he had options. He decided to go to Notre Dame on a full scholarship, got his business degree. So I got a little more insight to the locker room and how the players feel about it, right? And he did okay and played in the NFL. He got what he needed out of it. Has a master's degree from Notre Dame, a business degree. He's doing very well. He got what he needed to get out of it. It was a two-way street. But I also got some insight from players, how they feel about it. And I think that not necessarily my nephew per se, but other people in that era think that he was just a politician the whole time, man. He really had no love for the institution or love for the players. And if that's your reputation, and then this is how you leave, yeah, man, you got a little bit of a roach stench on you, man. You smell like Raid, bro. The light came on and you went to showing exactly who you were.
You got to scrambling, huh?
He got to scrambling. He got on up out of there. I would have liked him for at least to wait another day. I would have liked for him at least to have told the players that, hey, man, I'm seriously considering this. I would have liked for him in his, you know, you send those guys a text and say, I'm sorry you had to hear this way. I'll meet you at 7:00 in the morning. Man, let them sleep. You met them for 8 minutes to clear your own conscience. Don't make them go through a therapy class just because you can't sleep at night. And the truth of the matter is he could sleep at night, because if you don't look them in the eye and treat them like young men, then they'll never respect you. And I think that the response that the players had to Marcus Freeman's announcement shows me that they feel as though they got to have a coach. And I'm going to make the statement that potentially Notre Dame got rid of a Roach. What is our audience? What do you think? Could he have done it differently? The way he left, not his decision to leave, because that is his to make. This is a free market capitalist society that we live in. That is his to make. But the way that he left, what do you think about it?
Love it.
You love it. You know,
I believe we should get the statue going today. And how he left should make his statue just 2 inches taller for him. He's 5'6", make his statue 5'8.5". Let's give it to him.
5'8.5". All right. It is what it is. Do you think he wins at LSU? Do you think he wins the SEC? Do you think that he earns that $95 million? Because, you know, you talked about him leaving Notre Dame 11-1. If you look at the success that his players have had in the NFL, I think that we should have won one by now. We've been there close enough. I was kind of anti-Brian Kelly when I went down to Miami and we played the U in that electric environment, and we got whooped. And I looked at that team. I said, well, that Miami team ain't Bama 2012. That's not who that was. That ain't Bama 2020. That ain't LSU 2019. That Miami team was average, and they beat us like we stole something. Our team looked woefully unprepared. And at that moment, I said in big games, I have a challenge with someone that doesn't get his team up for big games. Now, I'll also say this. You look at his history with quarterbacks there were so many of them. The first quarterback that was really entrenched in a role was last year. Mm-hmm. What was our quarterback's name for
Ian Book?
Ian Book. And Ian Book came to be a starter that night, I think, in that Miami game. He was the first one that's been entrenched. I'm embarrassed to go through. Tommy Reese.
No. Ian Book became the starter against LSU.
But he LSU, but he pulled him in that Miami game. He pulled Brandon Wimbush. Brandon Wimbush got pulled in the Miami game. All right, but if you look at Deshaun Kaiser, what's Lucky Lefty's name?
You mean The dude
who transferred to Florida.
Everett
Golston transfer. You had Tommy Reese unseated. What was the kid name from California? It was just never, like, at some point, a coach, to me, should have a stable relationship with the quarterback. And it was a Dame Christ.
Dane Christ, yeah.
Dane Christ was the first one. He got pulled for Tommy Reese. Tommy Reese got pulled. Look at it. And so I was always looking at, like, that says something about a relationship between the coach and quarterback, that we haven't had a stable relationship. Ian Book was the only stable relationship that we had. Even when Deshaun Kaiser left, the person that had the worst critique of Deshaun Kaiser and said he should stay, he's not ready, was his own head coach. So I that's just me, man. There's some Roach tendencies there. It is what it is. I'm a player.
I say the greatest gift he ever did on top, the icing on the cake with leave, is to rid Notre Dame of himself. That shows you how much I can't go back. I look at this, if I take feelings out of it, and I don't really appreciate the man. He's not a great personality guy. I've met the man probably 7 times. Every time he acts like he's never seen me before, which just kind of sometimes it tells you a lot about a person.
Roach.
But he left Notre Dame better than he got it. He put us in a situation right now where the program is in as good a shape as it's been in decades. Man, it's probably stretching. But yeah, no decades, really. We're at the best situation that we're in as a program right now than we've been since the early 90s.
Because of the coach, because of the players, or because of the assistant coaches, because of, like,
you got to give him the credit. I mean, he's the coach. What else is it for?
All right.
What is it for? Is it because of the new dorms they built, the new library, or the science building? I don't know.
Hey, man, people choose Notre Dame for whatever.
Yeah, it's not.
All I know is this, man. We've been in the dance. We've been in the dance. So don't tell me you can't get to the dance with the players that you were getting, because you've been to the dance.
DJ, but now we switched up the DJ. We got DJ that got a little something to him. He could, you know what I mean? He could do a little TikToking if he needs to. I'm happy. I'm happy with this. I just think I go back to saying, I think he put it all together. Do you think, we didn't get to Tom Reese? I think he's done a good job as a coordinator, better than I expected him to do when he took over.
Reese?
At 27 years old when he took over as a coordinator. But do you think Tommy Reese was going to – what is he probably – they're going to give him a $400,000 raise. I think he was already over $1 million.
29-year-old.
Do you think that if he didn't offer him at LSU, this 1 point whatever, do you think another school was about to come scoop him for that?
I think that once you decided that Marcus Freeman was your guy, let's keep the staff intact as much as possible.
No. Do you think – because LSU tried to give him a $400,000 raise.
I don't think you're giving BK way more credit than that. I think that people do that. Agents report that, hey, man, we're getting interest here for the price to go up. But Jack Swarbrick he's danced this dance before. He's been through this before. He understands the implications of the decision that he's making. And look, say what you want about Jack Swarbrick. I don't think that influences the decision whatsoever. I think the decision to keep Tommy Reese was because you are now promoting Freeman to become head coach, and you understand that you had 2 young coordinators that were phenomenal in the recruiting living rooms. So I think that's what had to do it. I don't think it had anything to do with BK, to be honest with you, because in this game, if you're reactionary to those decisions, you're always behind. And look, man, I don't give BK that much credit when it comes to those decisions, but I hear you. I understand the point that you're making. So anybody else? Let me see. We got to go to the comments and see who thought that it was a little bit of a Roach tendency. Let's see. All right. See, this is the part where I, doing both the commentary. Let's see this. I like this one. My man, what's up, dog? Juan William Jackson says Notre Dame didn't have the best players. You're so biased right now. I don't know which game he's talking about. Have the best players against whom? I don't think you need to win with the best players. I think he's saying
in comparison to LSU. He's saying LSU, he wants to go with the best talent, and Notre Dame does not have the best talent.
I think that's subjective, because if all you need, look, and I'm gonna compare it to Pop Warner, because there's a lot of people call me, like, hey man, you should bring your son over here. We got a dynasty all-star team. If all you need, or if it requires you a prerequisite to winning, you got to have the best players. You ain't no coach. You are, as my boy, my best friend in the whole wide world, my dog, Reem, dubs it. You a coach. Fake ass coach. Cincinnati didn't have better players than us this year. No one would argue that Cincinnati has better players than us, but they went on the road and won a game that they needed to win. You can't rely on just having the best players to win the big games. We've been there several times, and unfortunately, we haven't performed well. So if we're going to give Coach Kelly credit, which he should, for what he did as a coach, putting us in the position that we're in as a program, we also got to, hold him to the standard of he didn't win those games. He just didn't win those games. Nick Saban, while he does have a lot of times a lot of the best players, not always. He's won without having the best players. It is what it is. And not having the best players when we're talking about college coaches is a part of your job description. You got to recruit or hire coaches that can recruit. The standard that Notre Dame is, and Marcus Spears and others, Stephen A. Smith, here's where I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say it, man. Because if we are saying that the only way you can win is to take kids that don't perform as well academically, then we are a part of the problem. We are. Marcus Spears, I get it. He's an LSU guy. Like, if we believe the numbers that have come out, 80% of the people that play in the NFL end up broke. My college roommate is running his own real estate fund right now. Football is going to end for you one day. It will. Some quicker than others. And so if we are supporting this narrative that he made a better decision because he gets to go recruit kids that don't necessarily care about the classroom, and no one said that directly, but that's kind of what you're hearing, then we need to change that. We need to let these young men understand that, you gotta, you're right. Like LSU wants you bad. You go in and make sure you get the most out of the situation, not only from a name, image, and likeness deal, not only making sure you get the best dorm, but you make sure they educate you, man. You got to do that.
At the end of the day, I do think it's too over blanking of a statement. We try to say like, it's not like LSU's full of dummies, right?
Not at all. They have kids that are academically engaged, which is why those kids should be. It's like saying, oh man, all cops not bad, but the good cops got to make sure that they call the bad ones out. So if there are academically engaged kids at these schools, stop that. I'm serious about my schoolwork. Stop acting like him coming here means that he gets to go recruit the dummy, because I ain't no dummy.
No, but here's the thing: is he can recruit everybody he recruited at Notre Dame plus. That's really what they're saying. Ultimately, is there's no limitations. But the SEC does have some. You can't be a Prop 40. I don't even think they use the term Prop 40 anymore. You can't be a Prop 48. You got to be a qualifier. But you can be a 2.0 and a 17 and probably get in. I think whatever the minimum is, you can get in there. You can't do that at Notre Dame. So there's no academic people at Notre Dame.
True.
You can't be too smart to go to LSU. Like, you can't be like, oh man, your grades too good.
Fair.
No way you can. So that's all. I think that's all that really says. But it comes across as you got 85 dummies on scholarship. I think that would be completely terrible to say that.
For example, Myron Rowe, who went to Florida State at a time when people were referring to as Free Shoe University. Myron Rowe was a Rhodes Scholar. The man's a brain surgeon now, doing great things, helped out with the COVID pandemic. He's an example of what student athletes should be. And he went to Florida State. Celebrate it more, and let's document that. I just think that when the narrative is pushed by those who are in a position in the media space that it's an upgrade because he can now recruit what potentially could be described as a downgrade academically candidate.
Mm-hmm.
Like, nah, man, let's change this narrative, because these kids need to understand that this is your one opportunity to make the most out of this capitalistic situation. They want you want an education, let's do it. You want an opportunity to go to NFL, let's do it. Let's make sure that they educate you while you're there. Because when you're on, like Notre Dame made me pay for the lottery. I got some help, and they took care of me, so I ain't complaining. But my eligibility was up, so I wasn't going free no more.
Like,
And if you believe that
I really
80%
need a
of
checkers. Y'all got a checkers team? I gotta get some sort of
I
scholarship.
play anything, dog. But if 80% of the NFL ends up broke, then let's not pretending like just because he's going to coach guys that have a propensity to make it to the NFL, that's a better position. And I think that he's getting a sort of a pass, because to me the challenge would be to finish what you started. The way he left to me was a Roach move. His decision to leave was his to make. But for me, when I think of competing, I want to finish what I started. I want to do it a way that is the road less traveled. The last 3 coaches that have been at LSU won a national championship. So I think for him to have won a national championship at the Division II level, whatever they call it now, FCS, right? And now to be in a place where the last 3 coaches have won one in a Power 5 level, it's going to cement his legacy. After you've already become the winningest coach at Notre Dame, I think it was all about BK, and God bless him. But
it is all about BK. I can't argue with that. But I just look at the net effect, and I still stand behind. The net effect is so great. We've never had a coach leave under greater circumstances since I've been born. Holtz didn't leave under these good circumstances. Every other coach between him and Holtz has been bad or not great. Right. So this is the best situation we've ever had a coach that I ever heard of in Notre Dame history, probably. I'm kind of going a little too far there. But I don't know if anybody else left on top with an 11-1 record, with the chance to go to the national championship, and left with incapable hands. So you can say whatever you want about what he said, 8 minutes here, whatever. Give a damn. Results are we are in great shape. We are in good or better shape today than we were this time last week.
We are.
And he left.
And you and I just disagree in terms of the amount of credit that he receives. No one has done it. Maybe no one has done it because it's such an exceptionally great decision to make, but maybe no one has done it because, like, you damn fool.
Yeah. Hey, 10 million greenbacks can't be wrong. That's all.
So do you think LSU made a good investment?
No. I think we came up.
You think Notre Dame came up? I think so too in terms of financially.
Our payroll went down, right? I don't know who we're going to hire.
Our payroll probably definitely went down. We don't have to disclose we're a private school. They're not going to disclose.
But it went down because I guarantee Freeman didn't get whatever Kelly was getting. And if
his 12th year, after all the stuff that you said, he probably shouldn't have got paid that.
Yeah, so he didn't get paid that. I guess we'll get a coordinator next year. We'll get you got to bring a coordinator in anyway, right? Regardless.
He probably Mike Elson, who is the run defense coordinator and been there 12 years, probably in the bowl game becomes D coordinator.
Yeah, he becomes D coordinator or whatever. So we're all in the same situation. Everybody get bumped up a little bit, but they don't get all of Brian's money. So Notre Dame is in a better spot than it was this time last week. LSU is going to fire Brian Kelly in 3 years.
My man,
and he's going to be in a better place. The only loser is LSU because they're going to fire him in 3 years, and he will have made so much bread in those 3 years compared to what he would have. Who would care?
He's going to have FU money. But so my man, what up, Juan William Jackson said LSU has better players than Notre Dame. Fight me. He laughs out loud. But I mean, Notre Dame has beat them 2 out of the last 3 times.
Yeah,
I mean, that's my point. Is that I don't know, man.
So now, so Juan, either Brian Kelly's a better coach than anybody they've ever had at LSU because Ed Orgeron, the same guy that won the national championship, couldn't beat us. Who they had before? They had the Joker.
Les Miles.
Les Miles before that. He couldn't beat us, right? They had all these goons. They couldn't beat us. So miss me with this SEC has everything, So
let's talk about that because what's up, Bill K said, I met you in the Joyce lot a few years ago, maybe MSU 2016. I go to a lot of games. The flag after the Michigan 200 was still bogus, and I took it and ran with it. That's why I missed the excessive celebration, baby. But I appreciate you joining, man. Yeah, please come back and join, man. The Ball Hawk Sports, I really appreciate it. We have a bunch of people that says he's a Roach, and you say, if anybody says he's not a Roach, what's up, Armando? I love that, man. I forgot that. Yo, Brian Kelly has a propensity to do this, right? He left Cincy high and dry as they had that undefeated season to come to Notre Dame. And they say how you get them is how you keep them, right? So if you get that girl cheating, don't be surprised.
Can you imagine if we would have took Fickle? The people from Cincinnati came burn our university down.
Oh, yeah, they'd have been hot. Two coaches in a row,
we can't have nothing. Them dudes were taking off
people. Armando Allen, baby, South Florida's finest, man. Played at Notre Dame running back. Appreciate you joining, man. I'm going to try to get a few of these in. Let me see. And Armando is also a coach, man. So I'm not going to require anybody to put themselves in a bad situation, but I do want to see what y'all saying. Is it
where does Armando coach at? Is he in college race?
I think he was in Texas. I don't know where he's coaching right now. But I know he is a rising young coach in the college coaching ranks.
I like hearing that because I don't feel like Notre Dame, we produce a lot of coaches. It's really weird.
Well, all right, so that's the other issue I had with BK, but the all-time leading rusher at Notre Dame, Archery Denson, was on his staff at one point. Pat Terrell, not Pat Terrell, Pat tripping.
Pat. No, Pat Terrell was not a coach there. We had
I'm tripping. The defensive back coach. He played with you.
I know. Good friend of mine. Texted him last week, and I still can't remember his name.
He's such a good friend.
I did. I texted him when Skip got fired. Let me tell you.
But anyway, neither coach on the staff, but who knows what that is.
I can't remember his name. My bad, dog.
Yeah, I wanted to call him Pat Terrell so bad, but that's not his name.
No, Pat Terrell's he's in Chi-Town. Jeff Burris.
I'm not talking about Jeff Burris. I'm not talking about Jeff Burris. But I'm not.
You're talking about your boy. Jeff Burris was here. You're talking about I didn't play Todd Light.
Todd Light. That's the one I was talking about.
Todd Light said, I'm cool off coaching. I left. He left. He left coaching after coaching.
Malik Zaire was the quarterback I couldn't think of. Thank you for these comments, y'all. Eric Golson was ruined by Kelly. We'll see, man. I love all of this, man.
A ruiner. He is a quarterback ruiner. And you got to give that credit
straight up. You got to whisper in a ruiner. Look at all of them, man. I went through that's like 5 generations worth of quarterbacks, bro.
House and ever. Notre Dame is in a much better spot, having had Coach Kelly than we did before. He left in great situation, and we're in a great hands right now with less than a week to go. I'm a results-oriented guy. I'm in sales. So at the end of the day, it's what did you sell? That's all that matters. I don't care how you got here.
The same people, so my man Juan Williams Jackson says, and this is what's funny to me, because I say the same people who were mad at Notre Dame for firing Tyrone Willingham aren't giving Notre Dame credit for giving this young brother an opportunity. Whatever. My man, this is a good bro right here, like really good bro from South Florida, love him to death. But he says Brian Kelly is a good coach. Is Bobby and others saying he isn't? Laugh out loud, but he was not going to win a national championship at Notre Dame. Here's my thing. The same people who said that said, I don't want to see him in the college football playoffs, so every time they get there, they get blown out. Well, then how good of a coach was he if you were good enough to get there but then get blown out?
Like everybody else. So here's the thing I can't let you say. 80% of the first round games, maybe 90% has been a blowout.
True.
We got blown out. True. The last time we got blown out, Alabama got blown out by more points than we did.
Right.
So stop putting that on Brian Kelly. He just hasn't had his turn. That's the only thing. He doesn't get his turn to win. He hasn't done that. But most people haven't. There has only been a few coaches that won a national championship in the last 10 years. So stop. He's still a good coach.
What's up, my man? Kevin Holtz is in the building, man. It's really good to see everybody out here. Todd Light was who I was talking about. I appreciate it. I had these old moments, and I got a chance to kick it with Todd Light in the Pittsburgh game. All right, so we got to get to Lincoln.
Kevin Lou's son?
Yes. Yeah, good brother.
Okay,
very Kevin, good brother, man. Appreciate you supporting the show. Please like, comment, share, tag a friend, tag a foe, tag anybody you know. Please subscribe in the podcast world. All right, Lincoln Riley. He also bolted and went to USC.
That deal was sweet, though.
And until the Roach of all Roach moves, I'm calling it. You saying a very smart business move, you're calling it. Until Brian Kelly does that, that was the story of all college football. And so let's talk about both Lincoln Riley leaving and this new concept, right? A brand new Roach, because the transfer portal only allows you one free transfer. You can't just move around.
You still can grad transfer too.
You could grad transfer. All right. So, is this just a new thing? It's a mass exodus. It's a transient world. People can go where they want to go. I just don't know. Like, I'm not feeling it. Lincoln Riley had, I think, the keys to the kingdom too. He was only 5 years in. He had built what I thought was a very, very powerful program. And he decided to bolt and go to USC. And people are saying that was genius. He ain't got nobody else to compete with because it's the Pac-12. He's definitely going to run the South when it comes to the Pac-12. I mean, all he got to do is every once in a while contend with Oregon. This was a great move. He's going to have the recruiting on lock. And like, are we celebrating people running from the competition? That's what we doing. Ain't that a roach? When you turn the light on and people scatter, ain't that a roach? They played. He didn't want to go play in the SEC. He ran from it, and we're celebrating it.
Listen, your job is to go find a situation where you can win and where you can make an impact. I think Oklahoma has done great. They're right. They're like just like Notre Dame. They've been doing good all the time. They get to the playoffs, they get pistol whipped, do whatever. So they've been in the same situation. I think that they joined the SEC because they thought that was the better conference to give them a chance. They were losing some people that they couldn't get because they didn't want to play in the. And I think as a father of an athlete, the Big 12, I kind of looked at that as like, that's like the conference I never really wanted to consider. They don't play no defense, so my son get a bunch of touchdowns, but it just seems And then, but you go to USC. USC is on that Mount Rushmore with us, right? They have the most draft picks. I mean, let's be fair, right? We're on
Mount Rushmore. Let's call Mount Rushmore college programs right now. So we're biased. We say Notre Dame.
Bama,
Mount Rushmore is
Michigan,
only
USC.
4. Right? Mount Rushmore is only 4.
I'm gonna give Mount Rushmore more like 5.
You're gonna go 5. All right, you're gonna put a extra head. I think Mount Rushmore's 4. All right, but go ahead. You're gonna put 5.
So Notre Dame, Bama, USC, Michigan. Who did I displace that was wrong? Mount Rushmore now. We're not talking about
so you're saying all time. Because I mean
Clemson's not there. Clemson.
All right, so I was gonna say Clemson.
Johnny come lately.
But if you put them on there and don't put LSU on there, LSU's won 3 championships to our 0 in the last 3 decades.
I think they're hot now, and I think that they've been their program has been in one season they were better than us, but every other season they have not been better than us. And since Kelly been there, I say every other season. That's a stretch. But we beat them 2 times in the bowl game. We both made the same bowl game. We beat them. They won the championship, and they fired him 2 years later. And they were going to fire him before he won the championship. So he got lucky and got a grip of people and a good offensive coordinator. In 1 year, he won champion. But Ed Orgeron was on his way out and knew it. Urban Meyer even sold him out and said that on TV. He's like, man, they was going to get us until your boy came over and saved us. So SEC lacks good coaching. So anyway, they went. Brian Kelly's not going to be any worse than the coaches that they.
You haven't mentioned a single Florida school. You didn't say Miami, Florida State, or Florida. You don't think they're in the Mount Rushmore?
Maybe Miami.
You haven't named any of them. Florida State, Miami, or Florida.
Florida State and Florida definitely.
And you put USC on there before Florida State, Florida, and Miami.
Yeah. Mount Rushmore. Yeah.
I can't give
until last year. I hate to say this out loud. You're making me give these people too much credit on the air. What's up, Shane? I get you. I appreciate you, Shane. He's a South Florida boy. He's from your neck of the woods. I can't remember. He went to high school.
Shout out to
He
South
live up here
Florida.
Now though. He done figured it out. Moved up to Chicago.
Go back
shout
home,
out to
bro.
Shane Ellison.
Always need to go back home.
Anyway, so
but hold on. Matter of fact, St. Thomas Aquinas tonight in the semifinals against Gainesville Buchholz. I wish I could get down there.
Post your high school. He's from right where you're from.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he is. Tell me that.
Did you ask about my high school? I'm from the illustrious St. Thomas Aquinas, so the greater Florida area.
As opposed to the St. Thomas Aquinas from Chicago or from what do you have to put all that descriptions?
But my bad. I interrupted. You're talking about USC. Go ahead.
USC until last year had the most people in the history of in the NFL from USC. They got all kind of national championships and all kind of Heismans, whatever. They're Mount Rushmore. So you got to give them the thing over Oklahoma. Over Oklahoma.
So he left one Mount Rushmore program for another? That's a roach.
So because you don't like LeBron either. I forgot.
I love LeBron, and there were 4 years of LeBron's career that I absolutely love when he played for my Miami Heat. Other than that, I could do without him. Yeah. I could do without him. So you got Michigan. You didn't put Ohio State in there.
I messed that up.
You didn't put Penn State in there.
I take Penn State out. They disqualified themselves when they joined the Big Ten. They was cool when they before that. But Ohio State should have been in there. I messed that up.
Anybody else listening, I want you guys to name what is the Mount Rushmore of top college football programs. And if USC ain't on there, do we call Lincoln Riley a roach? You got this program to where you I hope where you thought it should be. You're a young coach. The recruiting is going great. And you decide to up and leave because you get private jets in USC. You get to be on the beach, chilling. You get to have what probably is going to amount to a monopoly for the recruiting in California. But whatever happened to Brian Kelly, whatever happened to Lincoln Riley in sports saying, I'm going to put this goal out here. That is a lofty goal. And I'm going to go work my butt off. I'm going to go compete. I'm going to go through the hard times of achieving this goal. And it's going to be so tough. But when it's all said and done, I'm going to celebrate it. And my legacy might be impacted such that I don't win more championships. But the dog fight of going through those tough times and getting to where I want to be on the pinnacle of success as I decide to define it is worth it. Whatever happened to that?
Because I'm going to tell you what happened to that. When you're ready, I'm going to tell you what happened to that.
Go ahead.
$110 million, $6 million house, $500,000 over asking for both your sorry ass houses in Norman, Oklahoma, living in California with your two beautiful daughters that's going to raise up with you. His wife said, man, if you're going to take that shit, I'll stab the shit out of you. If someone offered that money to my wife to leave me, I would kiss her and say, look, man, I love you too much to hold you back from that type of deal. Even though it would be miserable to have life without me. This is America. This is a capitalist society. We are.
I gotta go to a different country, then, man.
Come on, man.
I gotta go to a different country.
You got to go back to Venezuela, where you're from. You got to do something different because 110 M's.
All right, look at some of these though. 2001 Canes, best team ever. Anybody that could say they had the best team ever should be on the Mount Rushmore, right? The Hurricanes, and that's not even 80s, 90s when on a mission.
I guess Mount Rushmore, you can't just really call it four. It's really a cluster of these teams and then everybody else. Miami's up there. I was wrong with Ohio State. They're definitely up there.
Oh, my man with the Northeast. All right, Northeast. All right, that's what's up, man.
I told you. Right,
yeah, that's what's up. Ain't nothing wrong with Northeast.
He don't even do his mustache like you.
Northeast, man.
We didn't talk about that. You don't trip up the
McCoy, rest in peace, used to work in Northeast. But go ahead. So you don't Mount Rushmore.
I can't limit it to four. I just got to say it's a cluster of programs out there of historical nature and what they go do. I mean, Texas has been sorry for so long that it's hard to keep them in there, but they've been so irrelevant since Vince Young left. Absolutely.
That's my thing, man, is that they're running to this shiny red object. Shane, I don't know you, but I like you already, man. He points out, and how dare I not acknowledge our audience member here. St. Thomas has more NFL players than any high school, and it ain't even close. So I just want to acknowledge Shane. Thank you for being in the audience today. I don't think that these guys should get credit for running for the shiny red object. But for me, and again, maybe I'm oversimplifying it, but in Pop Warner, right, I've been fortunate enough to be around a lot of amazing kids, and that has generated success. But you get calls from these other programs saying, man, we got this, we create us an all-star program. I'm not running for the shiny red object because I don't want my sons to see that as a way of living. I want them to see us. We're going to coach whoever come through that doggone park, and we're going to fight. And we're going to teach them how to play football, and we're going to lose some games. And it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay.
Sounds good.
Now, look.
Nobody has offered you 110 M's.
And maybe they need to.
And once that happens, you don't give a shit where the game is, what's going on. We keep trying to put all these other things above it. Everyone loves to do that because no one's ever offered you $110 million to do anything.
I want to think of people offer me things I found attractive that I had to say no to.
Brokeback Mountain 2, you would be starring in that mug. Stop it.
See, now you done gone too far. You done put me in Brokeback.
I ain't gone too far, man. We all for sale. Everybody's for sale. 110 million. Everybody tell you that they wouldn't be bought as a liar. They're daring you to try to prove them wrong. $110 million.
110 million. Shane, I like you, man. Mr. McCoy was a very good man. My fraternity brother too. An amazing. Rest in peace. All right. So what do you call Lincoln Riley did? A coach for making a great decision to go into USC and have a monopoly on the California recruiting? Or is he a roach too? Light came on, he showed that he didn't want to be in that smoke, the SEC, to go and compete on a week in, a week out basis. Because Lincoln Riley had done it earlier in the week and everyone said he was afraid of the smoke, he was really the reason why people gave Brian Kelly a pat on the back and said, man, he ran towards the smoke. He went to the SEC and coached LSU. I think both moves were roach moves.
Can't listen to y'all when y'all talk about this money. Y'all keep acting like the money not there. I can't take it anymore. I can't take it.
So you think it's all about the money?
I can't take it. Brian Kelly left for the money. Why should he coach for free at Notre Dame? He was coaching for free. The market said he's worth. Well, we keep saying 95. It's really 105 million. He gets a $500,000 bonus for not getting fired from a contract that he's at, where he's under contract, and then he has another $500,000 for what does he got to do? Something real stupid, something real silly. Going to a bowl game. They've been 20 straight bowl games, except for the 1 year they had the self-imposed. They're going to go to a bowl game of some sort. They're going to be 500. SEC has such a soft schedule outside of conference that they're always going to make a bowl game. So at the end of the day, he's going to get $10.5 million, and that's enough reason for me. That's enough. Why should he stay at Notre Dame? He's not from there. He didn't go to Notre Dame. Why should he give it? Why? I love Notre Dame, but I don't know why they think they should get a discount. They got the second biggest endowment in the world. Why should they get a discount?
I don't think it was a discount as much as people made it out to be. If we're saying discount versus $95 million, yeah, it was at a discount. But I mean, Brian Kelly was being well paid. He's being well paid.
They had him at
Notre Dame's
$2.3 million.
Institution, so they don't have to disclose it. But he was
they had
well
him at
paid.
$2.3
He understood
million.
the market. He understood his market. Now, is he being more well paid at LSU? You better believe it. You better believe it.
So that's.
But here's my thing, man.
How about all your other reasons?
So let's just it's a brand new approach then, because if LSU can pay Brian Kelly, who has not won the big game, facts, $95 million. Why is it that what's my man name? The coldest
Crawford. The coldest to ever do it.
The coldest to ever do it, Crawford. Why isn't like players like the coldest to ever do it, Crawford, not getting paid by the institution? And that's the elephant in the room. When Lincoln Riley goes and gets these private jets and all this money, right? You said that Brian Kelly left Notre Dame in a great spot, 11-1. I argue that Brian Kelly had a role in it, but it was the players that got them to 11-1. Okay. Simple and plain. Brian Kelly ain't ran not a single hitch route. Brian Kelly ain't not a single
Nick Saban. Do you think he's not worth the loot?
I think that Nick Saban is worth the loot, and I think that everybody that's played for Nick Saban is worth the loot. What I'm telling you is that Nick Saban ain't won a national championship.
Who brought him there?
What do you mean?
Who brought them to Alabama?
The players themselves?
Yeah.
But
Nick Saban got them there, so he gets the credit.
You're arguing an argument that I'm not fighting.
Okay.
I didn't say that Nick Saban's not worth the money. Okay. What I'm saying is you're talking about the market value of Nick Saban. In this case, you said the market value of Brian Kelly because they're willing to pay him $95 million. Why is it that we live in a world that the institution is willing to pay Brian Kelly, who ain't won a big game, $95 million, and the players that played for him, that got him to 11-1, that got him to potentially give the last 5 college football playoffs, why is it they still make zero from the institution?
That's a whole show. There's a whole show for that we're not doing today. I'm not going to say that they don't deserve the money, but right now we're talking about coaches getting paid. Matter of fact, we didn't win 10-1s when Weiss was there. We still had players.
I think we did go his best season. I think they only lost 1 game. But Charlie Weiss's best season, yeah, he had a good season. I don't remember if it was 1 game or 2 games, but neither here nor there. Neither here nor there. What I'm saying to you is it's interesting to live in a world that's going to pay Brian Kelly $95 million for the labor that those players put in. Facts.
Mm-hmm.
Facts.
Yeah, you're right.
If you're going to have a transfer,
again, that's a whole show that I'm willing to do. We can do an extended hour show today.
Yeah, we'll have a different show, but this was just a fun fact: is that we got to start calling it what it is. We got to start calling it what it is, because I mean, Brian Kelly can up and leave, right? Literally like a thief in the night, with his players waiting to see what the last college football playoff ranking is going to be, to see if indeed they're going to be in a hunt for a national championship. And because of a phone call, like, I'm out. Peace. No,
he left that though. That's a sacrifice. He left a chance. That's the ego. He could have stayed for that. Try to sit there and see. I can't leave because I want to show him this. He said, "Man, keep that." They got done.
And then he tried to tell them,
"M's over there." Please,
and then he tried to tell them without looking in their face, "Man, yeah, y'all one of the best teams in the country." Not looking them eye to eye. Yeah, man, y'all should be in the Final Four. Man, get on out of here. That's how you know Notre Dame recruiting a different type of kid. I think that if we were there, somebody was like, man, I'm about to put the part. You'd have to walk in there with
I would have
security.
liked it, to be honest. I would have kind of liked if they didn't show up. I kind of would have liked to see that.
If they just did not show up.
7 a.m. I'm asleep. I got to go to class or something. I don't know.
All right, man. So we gonna shut it down because I'm here in Orlando. I want to be present. I'm here for the Pop Warner Super Bowl championships, man.
Man, good luck.
And I'm seeing all these teams here. It's good to see all of these young people here. I don't know why they got us here this early.
What level are your kids playing?
They're playing junior Pee-wee, my oldest son, which is the last of weighted football. It's about to all go to the wayside. So quickly, my Pop Warner thing is this. First of all, Pop Warner, y'all tripping. We're supposed to be in these nice the resort. They got us in the dang on. It's basically the red carpet in around this thing. You know, really? I'm afraid to show it.
At Disney.
They moved it to Universal, so they had all these issues. But we in the you talk about roaches. Ain't no roaches, but I say this, it's good to see. And the other knock I have on Pop Warner is they made us come do weigh-in today. So that means the kids had to miss school again today, and we're gonna miss all next week. But I digress. It's good to be here and see all these young people. It's good to be here and see
beautiful experience.
All these coaches. Beautiful experience. But here's my thing with Pop Warner, right? We know weighted football is going by the wayside. I've had debates on it, and I saw some unlimited teams here, and I'm starting to think that I'm falling further and further out of love with unlimited, man. I saw a kid today that's 10 years old, got to be pushing 220. At some point, aren't we encouraging childhood obesity? Aren't we? Like unlimited.
I argue that in my area, we would have a hard time with the big sexies because everybody here is all worried about childhood obesity, and we've eliminated all the linemen. I got all these slim ass fit dudes. Where are the fat guys at? Where are the dudes that got plumber's butt? I haven't said plumber's butt one time since I lived here 20 years. All these damn fit kids.
I just think
fat kids.
I'm not saying that maybe we should just move the weight up significantly, but unlimited
is fit is the way it's at.
It's like you're telling a kid, nah, it don't matter what you eat. It don't matter what you weigh. And the long-term effects of that, man, I know we're moving into an all unlimited world. There are a lot of teams here from the region, my region, which I live in New Jersey now. I know there are different national championships here. Before we go, best experience. I know you've lived it before.
Fantastic.
The Patriots. What was the name of your team?
Naperville Patriots.
And you guys won a championship or made it
most winningest program in the country ever.
Really?
Not 9 national championships.
Is that
I kind of made that up, but it's 9 national championships.
I was gonna say, man, I ain't got no way to verify that. And our research
team, it's a Florida team. I can't remember what they're called. It's a South Florida team that does a lot of championships. But I will put our shout out to Doug DeFusco. He put it together 9 national championships. That's pretty good.
Yeah. All right. Best experience here and worst experience here, and then we're gonna get out of here. Because Pop Warner, when you get it, man, this is where it all begins, right? We're talking about these college opportunities, these large paychecks that the coaches are getting. I hope that these kids get an opportunity to play for one of these highly paid, sometimes overly paid coaches. But what best experience and worst experience while you're here, and then we're gonna let it go for the day. A coach, a Roach, and a brand new approach. What do you got for experiences at Pop Warner?
So I actually didn't do Pop Warner. I did AYF and I did UYF. So
and they're here too. AYF, I think, is in Plant City now. So yeah, everybody's in the area. Yeah,
they're all in the same area. They all do the same week. There's a kid that played for the Harvey Colts and he played for the Naval Patriots. He would have a game, boom, boom, boom. He was back and forth. He played for both teams. Stuff. Neither one won the chip. Actually, no, the Patriots might have won, but he's crazy. The dude, we play for Nebraska right now. But that was a legend. That's one of the legend stories. Worst experience I had. UIF, AYF split up. They're both having a hard time filling their nationals together, so they were trying to bring come one, come all. You would get down to nationals after I starved some kids, some 6-year-olds. I'm telling them they can't eat breakfast, losing 9-10 pounds so they could play. We get down there, the weigh-ins, no coaches can come in on the weigh-ins. Not one person in the whole thing didn't make weight. So I don't starve these kids to death, and this kid is looking like me in first, second, third grade. Looking like me out there talking about they running the ball and they made the weight. And then you start seeing people out there, the whole team got red helmets. One dude got a green helmet. You couldn't find him in a helmet the whole season.
Right.
Dude,
so
don't know what it plays. because they're just picking up teams. So that's the worst experience. That actually made me not go back for a long time because they're just cheating. Then we had a team that wasn't even in our league that came and won the chip. That's embarrassing. A team from Rockford came down. He wasn't even in the league, and they came and just beat us. But they were a team. They were a junior peewee team playing Mighty Might because they said, I can't put a team together, but if you let me bring a couple 12-year-olds, I think I could throw something together. They're like, bring them all. So I hated that. Best experience ever for youth football was the way youth football ended. 8th grade, unlimited, 13U, down in Plant City. It's tied 8-8. My son was playing outside wide receiver. His best friend, Caden Cobb, was a quarterback. They tried to send my son on a slant, and him and Caden had been talking about, no, I'm going to tap it off, and that means I'm just going to run the go route. And so my son had, built the confidence in himself, tap his thigh, ran the go route, caught the ball, going out of bounds, boom, national champs. Let's go. Best experience of my sport. My youth, not being a coach was even tough to give it that way, but that's my best experience ever for youth football, to see my son do that stuff to win the championship.
I hope that I could live it just like you did. Good to be down here. Good to see these young men. Today's show was all about the Big Flow Show. I appreciate your contributions, my man. See you, sweet homeboy. Today's show was about a coach, a roach, and a brand new approach. Make sure you guys like, comment, share, tag a friend, tag a foe, tag anybody you know. Please subscribe in the podcast world. Make sure you share this, guys, because I think there's some good content. It's the Ball Hawk Sports Talk, where sports, business, and entertainment collide. We only do it one way, rough, rugged, and raw. Catch us next week. It don't matter if we on the road at the Pop Warner National Championship, Super Bowl. We still going to bring this content to you, baby, because we are committed to doing this. The Ball Hawk Sports Talk. And for this particular week, after you like, comment, and share, I got to let you know. We'll be back next week. But for this week, we is out. Miss y'all. I'll see y'all on the other side. A coach, a roach, and a brand new approach. Keep on commenting, y'all. I want to see if y'all think it was a roach move. I'll holler at y'all. Be good. We is out. Peace.